What's up, YouTube? Timmy's here. Here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turns 10, 20, 30, and 40 this week. Alright, the films celebrating their 10th anniversary this week. We got some pretty good ones here. We got the teen comedy called The Duff. Now, The Duff, of course, was like a teen comedy that starred Mia Whitman. I believe it was actually like her last teen movie she did because I remember at the time, she was pretty much reaching like in her 30s, so pretty interesting that she was still playing a teen here. And yeah, this was actually the last time she actually played a teen in a movie. But now The Duff, which was actually a really nice little comedy, which starred the likes of Belle Dorn, um, Allison Janney, Ken Jeong, Robbie Amell, which I'm sorry, I really could not buy him as a high schooler, but okay. Majority of these yeah, majority of these actors I couldn't buy as a teenager, but hey, that's where we went with this. If you guys don't know much about the Dove, it starred Mia Whitman, who plays this high school senior Bianca, who has a rude awakening when she learns that her classmate secretly knows her as the Duff, not to be confused with the Simpsons' favorite beer, by the way. Which of course the Duff stands for Designated Ugly Fat Friend, which I did not really knew I could really buy Whitman play that character, but hey, there we have there. Uh, and of course, to her prettier and more popular pals, and desperate to like reinvent herself, she enlists the aid of Wesley, who's this charming jock, in order to save her senior year from becoming a complete disaster. And of course, you have Bella Dorn, who plays the mean girl here. Her friends, of course, was played by my former Foster's actress Bianca Santos and Scarlett Samuels, who was recently in that terrible Meg sequel. The Duff was like no, it's not as memorable as let's say Mean Girls was or anything like that. But I actually did quite like the Duff. I had really fun time with it. Definitely brings you back to like the 80s, 90s, or early 2000 teen era, and it's a really nice little film. Even though I really could not really buy Mia Whitman as his character at all, but hey, she was still really charming. I mean, I've always liked Mia Whitman. Of course, she is obviously best known as a voice actress. She's of course was in NBC's Good Girls a few years ago too. So who doesn't love Mia Whitman, right? All right. Also turning 10 is Hot Tub Time Machine. While not as good as the first Hot Tub Time Machine, I think mainly reason because John Cusack was no longer in this. Instead, they like replaced him with Adam Scott. Which hey, Adam Scott was pretty good in this, but John Cusack was one of the hots of the first film. But I actually still had a fun time with the sequel. This time around, you have like Adam Scott, uh, and of course you have like Rob Corddry, Craig Robinson, Rob Corddry's Lou and Craig Robinson's Nick, all living very well off their like little garden, while Jacob, played by Clark Duke, still can't really like pretty much rely on Lou to be a positive, and of course when like an unknown assailant breaks into like Lou's mansion, uh, and takes him out. Both Nick and Jacob takes him for like another trip in the hot tub, and emerge in the year like 2025, like pretty much 10 years later. And where of course like and they try to like prevent it from happening. Again, it's not as memorable as the first film, but I actually remember quite having a fun time with it. You once again had like Chevy Chase and all. I mean, the original, nothing really beats the original. If you guys never seen the original Hot Tub Time Machine, definitely give that one a go. But the sequel itself wasn't so bad. But not memorable to be honest. Yeah. All right. Also turning 10, we got the Kevin Costner movie, which is the sports film called McFarland USA, which was directed by Nikki Caro, who of course who recently did that terrible Jennifer Lopez movie, The Mother. She did North Country, the Mulan remake, and of course, it's based on a true story of a 1987 cross country team from mostly a Latino high school in McFarland, California, and it stars like Kevin Costner as the school's coach who leads the team to state championship. You also had like Maria Bello, Morgan Saylor was in this. Really nice look, like really nice inspirational film. Obviously Kevin Costner is no stranger when it comes to sports genre, and here he was actually pretty decent. I mean, if you guys haven't seen McFarlane USA, which was also from Disney, Disney knows his way around sport movies, and this is definitely a really decent one here. All right, film turning 20 this week. We got Constantine, of course, based on the DC character, starring Keanu Reeves. This is a little bit of news recent because they are actually doing a sequel to it, supposedly. So we'll see if that actually gets off the ground. But but the original Constantine is a really good one. Of course, Keanu Reeves, Shia LaBeouf, Rachel Weisz. Oh yeah, Tilda Swinton was also in this. John Hanson. It is of course loosely based on the graphic novels, and it stars Keanu Reeves as John Constantine, who's this half angel, half demons, and they're and tries to communicate with them with like half angels and demons in true forms. And Constantine is a really decent one. Really cool action. Keanu Reeves, obviously at the height of his career, was pretty good here. Shia LaBeouf, seeing him pop up was pretty cool too. So not a bad film there. Definitely interested in seeing another one, but we'll see if that actually ever happen. Oh boy. Now also turning 20, is probably one of the worst movie sequels of all time. Probably the worst movie of that year, to be honest, yeah. You guys know where I'm going with this. You know, Last year was the 10th anniversary of The Mask. The iconic comedy with Jim Carrey, wearing a mask, becoming cartoony and all. But 10 years ago this week, we had Son of the Mask. Holy cow. One of the worst ever motion picture sequels to ever come out. This movie is a bomb, like one of the worst things to ever hit theirs. I remember actually watching this one back in the days, and I'm like, there was like a weird CGI baby that was really creepy. I'm like, it, this really, and it's a shame too because I love Jamie Kennedy because obviously you know him as Randy Meeks from the Scream movies. Like, who doesn't love Jamie Kennedy, right? I hate to say this, but I feel like this is a movie that really ruined his career. Like lately, he does stuff here and there, but he doesn't really do as much as he used to. And Son of the Mask definitely was pretty much, I feel like, the movie that really tarnished his career badly. Remember, he around I think 2 years prior, he also did Malibu's Most Wanted. He also had the Jamie Kennedy show. Who remembers that? But it was Son of the Mask that was the worst. Starring Alan Cumming as Loki of all things. Of course, if you guys don't know much about the story, it stars Jamie Kennedy as Tim Elvery, who's this animator whose child is born with the powers of the mask. And this is just like one of the worst piece of garbage you'll ever want to see. It's not funny. The effects is just outrageously bad. It's just one of the worst. You also had a cameo by Ben Stein. Also the actress who played like Rob Schneider's love interest in The Animal, she was in this, and she was a little better in The Animal, to be honest. Yeah, but oh yeah, Bob Hoskins also played Odin. Cal Penn was in this thing. It's just man, one of the worst piece of garbage you'll ever want to see. All right, also turning 20 is Because of Winn Dixie, which is uh the dog movie from 2005, starring Anna Sophia Robb, who you might know from like the Carrie Diaries. She was also Violet Beauregard in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This movie also saw the likes of this was actually her film debut, matter of fact, which I 2005, of course, was the same year that she also did Charlie and Chocolate Factory. I remember she was also in Bridge to Terrify and stuff. I was like on Sophia Robb, Carrie Diaries. She was really good in it too. Now of course you had like Jeff Daniels, Eva Marie Saint was in this, Harlan Williams, a very young Elle Fanning. Of course, this is of course based on like a very popular children's book, and of course a relation, like pretty much a relationship between between this young girl and a dog and all. And I remember actually quite enjoying this at the time. It's been like years since I've seen it, but I actually always thought it was like a cute, charming little film. I mean, I've always loved a good movie about a dog, and this actually wasn't so bad, really. All right, films turning 30 this week. Oh, we got some pretty good ones here. We got the Brady Bunch movie, which is, of course, the movie adaptation of the very popular sitcom from like the 1970s, I believe, or 60s, whatever. Of course, this starred the likes of Michael McCain, Gary Cole, Shelley Long. This is, of course, based on the popular 70s sitcoms. Where like with a whole new, where of course, gets dressed into like a 90s problems. Where like Larry Detmeyer, played by Michael McCain. If ever the positive brood can't really come up with 2000s, parent Mike and Carol pretty much initially don't fret until Mike has like difficulty getting a pretty much like a design his cultural design sold here. The Brady Bunch movie wasn't so bad. I mean, it was not as good as like the TV show, obviously, but I remember, quite enjoying it as a kid, and it was a pretty entertaining one. So it's been a while since I've seen it, to be honest, but I mean, obviously nothing beats the original Brady Bunch. I mean that. Come on, who never loved the opening of the original TV show, right? All right. Films also turning 30 is Heavyweights, which was actually written by Judd Apatow. Like I think this was like actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was like one of Judd Apatow's like first features he wrote, if I'm not mistaken. This was also directed by Stephen Brill, who would go on to direct Adam Sandler movies like Little Nicky. I think he did Mr. Deeds, sure, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and he also did Drillbit Taylor with Owen Wilson. He's done some other cool stuff here and there. This also stars like the likes of Ben Stiller, a very a very young Kenan Thompson, which I believe this was actually one of his like earliest roles he did. This was around the time like all that came out and all that and of course the film follows like a fat camp of for kids that is taken over like by a fitness entrepreneur as it's like campers work to overthrow him. And of course, Ben Still was really good. Sean Ways, who was also in The Mighty Ducks, was pretty fun in this. You also had like a very young Parfait, who would go on to direct. Obviously, Parfait would go on to direct, Ghostbusters, Bridesmaids, and all. This is actually a pretty fun little comedy. Really charming, cute, and all. If you guys never seen Heavyweights, definitely give that one a go. All right, also turning 30, we got Just Cause. Not to be confused with the video game, by the way. This movie, of course, starred the likes of Sean Connery, Lawrence Fishburne, Blair Underwood. It's where like Sean Connery plays like this law professor who fights the death penalty and is lured into defending a death row inmate, Bobby Earl Ferguson, played by Blair Underwood. And it's a really decent, like, little thriller. There's also another Just Cause movie that came out years after. I believe, like, a young Scarlett Johansson starred in that. So lots of Just Cause there. But this is actually a really decent little thriller. Sean Connery was pretty good in this. Lawrence Fishburne, who doesn't love Fishburne, right? So, oh, and Ed Harris plays, like, the serial killer in this. Really good little, like, the 90s had some really cool, interesting little thrillers. And this was a pretty cool one. All right. Now, films turning 40, not really a lot to go by, but we got Into the Night, which is a black comedy directed by Anima House and Blue Brothers director John Landis, starring Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Pfeiffer, and focuses on a aerospace engineer played by Goldblum, who is approached by a jewel smuggler played by Pfeiffer, whose life is in danger on the run from several international foes. You also had like Dan Aykroyd, Miles, really cool little cool little comedy. It's not like John Landis' best work, obviously. You know, his best work will always be Animal House, Blue Brothers, An American Werewolf in Paris. But this was actually an okay little comedy worth checking out. All right, also turning 40 is Modest Day, which stars Richard Harris, who obviously you might know as Dumbledore in the first two Harry Potter movies. You also had Justin Henry, James Coburn, Karen Black, Lindsay Wagner, and of course the film. The film, of course, follows like this escaped convict named Mine, who kidnaps like this kid who is also named Mine, and while trying to flee a plane, he's on the like while on the run, the two Mines discover they have many in common here. Not really too memorable. Like I'm not even sure if I really remember seeing this before, but hey, Richard Harris is always great, so pretty cool there. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me let you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one is actually going to go to the Duff. If you guys have not seen the Duff, Mia Whitman, Bella Dorn, really good little comedy there. The 20-year one is going to go to Constantine. 30-year one, I'm going to go with Heavyweights. And I guess the 40-year one will be Into the Night. Anyway, drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Steven signing off.